New year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries, and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes 3-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that 4th ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. When you're juggling 4 things at once and the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's.
Thanks for listening to No Question About That. You can support this show by visiting patreon.com/NQATpod or in your Apple podcast feed. We do a backers show each week going deep dive into a topic related to United. Or if you don't want to part with your cash, an even better way is to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And now on with the show. Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Tactics Show. I'm Ed with Dharnish today. How's it going, Dharnish?
Not so good. Honestly, not so good. I mean, I think this is the freshest that we're doing a pod since the game. It's only been like an hour or so. Not an hour or so, 3 hours I think it's been since the game. And I don't know what people do during games, but I rummage through my hair, so my hair's looking absolutely crazy bad shit right now. So it's not going good, because I think, not that this is like the beginning of the end, because it's still really fresh into the season, but these are the kind of performances where you go, it's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good.
Nah, I did feel like that actually watching the game. I was worried that the problems, the systemic problems that we talked about like all last season, basically,
were reappearing.
Just reappearing over and over again, and it'll feel very familiar, I bet, some of our analysis. And the idea that nothing's going to change with the game model, you're just going to plug in better players and it solves all the issues. It's a little worrying that Amrim seems to have come to that conclusion, right? There was a little change in the second half, and where
of course,
Cunha dropped a bit deeper and they made this sort of diamond in midfield, but it didn't actually solve some of the issues. In fact, it got worse after all the substitutions. So what was your initial take on the game?
Well, I mean, let's go over this logically, as logically as we can, because there was more than enough chances created, I felt, in the first 20-odd minutes for you to at least take one of them. You know, you this guy penalty, Cunha had a one-on-one, he hit the post. That's like 3 clear-cut chances to me in the first 20 minutes. If you take one of them, you probably win. You probably win because they probably just about hold on in the last 20 minutes. The problem that I have, the slightly worrying problem that I have is, and I had this last week, even though things look better and Mbeumo and Cunha are clearly better players and making the system look better, the problem that I have is teams know exactly what they want to do and they know exactly how to do it against this Man United team. They push them in certain zones. When they get them in certain zones, even if they get out of the press, Cunha and Mbeumo, when one of the 2 left hands drop deep, hit it into them, they turn and make the switch. The few times that happens, there isn't enough players in Fulham's half, right? Which was exactly the problem that we had last week when people were like, why is there no one up there? Why is nobody flooding the box? The other problem this week was Marco Silva and Fulham are a really good marker because they've always been a really smart team. They're really stern opposition. They're well compacted, well organized. Whenever Mount would drop deep or Mbeumo would drop deep or Cunha would drop deep, someone would follow them. There was one instant in the first half, I think, when Cunha got it wriggled out of a challenge. I was like, yes, brilliant. He's broke the press, now switch it. But Sasa Lukic just smartly fouled him. I was like, I know. So he knows that he can't get out of that zone kind of thing. That's the exact moment where it's like, okay, Amram's play is actually working. But Fulham were counting onto that. They were very suited to that. They were really compact. And then in the second half, it became this sort of stop-start game, I felt, where after the goal, they invited a ridiculous amount of pressure. I was like, why are you playing so deep? Number one, why are you playing so deep when Fernandes and Mount are in the midfield? That's why he subbed Agate on. I know he's not in many people's good books right now, But that's why he put him on, because if you're going to defend a lead for 15, 20 minutes, however long it was, why are you defending with Fernandes and Mount? Fernandes and Mount is a pivot that you run with when you want to have 80% of the ball, 70% of the ball, and knock teams out by passing them to death. They just couldn't get a foot on the ball, but also they went into this weird, really, really deep block in the second half where they were defending what they had, even more so when it went to 1-1. And I have to say, the back three were really good. Euro was brilliant. De Ligt was, again, solid. That they could have lost that game in the last 20 minutes just because of what the approach became.
They could have done, yeah. Do you think on the Fulham goal, I mean, we'll get onto the bigger themes, but on the Fulham goal, De Ligt had 2 men to mark. He went near, he didn't cover all the space. Who did not track in that should have done? Is that...
Both of them. I think
Fernandes?
Him and Fernandes. Yeah. But you're gonna get this when you play Fernandes in the pivot. I'm a fan of Bruno Fernandes in midfield, but I saw it in pre-season as well. There's going to be some moments out of possession. He's not the best guy. He's not the best marker. He's not the best tackler. That's kind of why Casemiro was in there next to him, because again, I thought he had a smart game. Casemiro had a nice, calm game, broke up attacks, broke up tackles. But when he's not there, I don't think it's a myth that when he got subbed, all of a sudden they were overrun in midfield. There's that quote flying of Alex Iwobi saying, we knew how to overrun them in midfield. Yes, I get that, but there were only really a few instances where they did that. If we're being completely honest, and I know people are really, really harsh on Man United every single week, if we're being absolutely honest, yes, Iwobi quoted that, but even in the second half, they didn't create that much Fulham. I know we were penned in. I don't like that at all. They were the better team in the second half, but largely the back three pretty much dealt with it. I don't want to be in a situation where Man United have to deal with that, but they did pretty much deal with all of Fulham's big chances.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. That's fair enough. I mean, I guess the worry is there are whatever balance we have. I mean, assuming that there's no sudden change to some kind of other system, whatever balance we have in that central midfield, it doesn't feel like quite the right mix. I mean, if Duarte's in there, you obviously have the risk with the passing and the technical side of the game. If Bruno Fernandes is in there, the kind of brain fog around when to defend properly. I mean, for all his brilliance, if Casemiro's in there, you only get 60 minutes from him, and he has to be in quite a restricted role, because if he pushes high up the pitch, there's going to be loads of space behind him, and the kind of erratic passing. I mean, when I mentioned on the main pod, but when he just hit his first blind ball around the corner, I was like, come on.
It's always the first pass, right? It's
always the one he wants to play, yeah.
It's always like someone's pressed X really quickly by mistake on PlayStation. Oh, they've released it. Which is good and bad, but it's like, dude, you've had more than enough time playing for one of the best Real Madrid teams of all time. You've had more than enough time marshalling United's midfield.
You should know what to do here, yeah.
Cool down. Another tactical point I want to talk about as well. When Mbeumo and Cunha and Mount are dropping in, like they should, like they need to, the back three are doing this thing where they calmly move it side to side instead of that first pass into them. It feels like United used to be a team where they used to try to play every ball quick. When Bruno Fernandes was in from attacking midfield, every ball was quick, Hollywood ball. Now it's gone complete 180, and now you're playing it too slow. Make that ball go quicker into the 10s, and so then they can turn and then move from there. Having said that, though, it is only just the second game. Fulham, again, well compact, really well organised. They knew what to do. I would like to think that if United played the same way against most of the teams in the league, or against an Everton or a Burnley next week, and Mbeumo Cunha will have more space. They can find more space and create more chances. It's just, I'm a bit concerned at the fact that teams know how to block space off.
Yeah, and given that United build up so strongly in wide areas, the connection between Shaw and Dorgu and Cunha, or today it was Yoro, Ahmad and Mbeumo. I mean, there's different levels of connection there. I think it feels like the left-hand side feels a bit more natural at the moment. Although one nice time when Ahmad went round the outside, made that outside run, and Mbeumo only just slightly underhit the pass and he wasn't able to get in. But it is a bit obvious. And I think we thought with Sisco coming in that they'd be able to, there would be a plan B or a plan C, which is to get it a bit more direct into the big man, to turn and bring players into play. If you're not going to build up through central midfield, which is, a little bit scattergun, isn't it? But again, he went with the sort of false nine system with Mount and Cunha, I guess, rotating into the central area. Hard to say exactly.
Yeah, I get why he did that, though. I completely get why he did that. It's just, now I'm starting to think, actually, I'd maybe switch Mount and Fernandes. I'd maybe switch Mount and Fernandes. But then I'm also thinking, all right, but Bruno did that last year, sometimes when he was more forward, right? Left or right turn. But then I also think, a lot of thinking going on. Then I also think, well, Mount has more of a free role this season. He's popping up on the left and the right. I think I would switch them, push Mount, back so he can go back into defence and be the deep quarterback, and let Fernandes be the guy who roams, gets the ball further up the pitch, and then plays the ball in behind. Because I'm thinking of that Mbuemo chance when Mount played it in behind and he got blocked by a defender. I think if Fernandes played that, Mbuemo would be through.
Mm. Well, it is the problem with the system that he's devised, right? And clearly this was the plan, because we went and spent 120 million on 2 number 10s for Fernandes to play deeper for most of the season. It won't be every game. But the compromise is, 1, on the defensive side that we've talked about, and 2, is just further away from goal. And the more he roams into those half spaces, as he wants to do, the more detached he is from Casemiro, and the more likely it is that Casemiro is either overrun or has to play the long ball in order to get it out of trouble in midfield. And it just feels a lot of square pegs, round holes, challenges for Amorim to sort out here. And I don't know whether more time on the training field and more coaching time is the one that will fix this, given the profile of players he's got.
I think perhaps if they won today, it'd be a huge, huge boost for their confidence. Then they can start to feel, okay, this is working. Then they can get even more confident in the system. But this system does just require a lot of players to figure themselves out in tight situations, right? This system literally does depend on a lot of players going wide, taking 2-3 players on, finding the right man inside. It feels like a lot of work a lot of times, even with the right profile. It feels like, okay, your theory seems kind of nice and kind of beautiful, but it doesn't seem very reachable right now. We've had too many examples where it doesn't feel reachable. Here's the thing, though, as well. I think he should personally get 15, 20 more games of this. And irrespective of whether I think he should get that or other people think that he should get that or not, he's going to get it anyway. He's going to get it anyway.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think there'll be a lot of chat about what the next 8 games look like, what it looks like up to that second international window, the kind of classic time United start firing managers and all of that kind of stuff. There will be a lot of chat about that because there's some really tough games in there. And United are not going to win all the games. They'll probably lose quite a few as a result of us not being fully formed and all of that. But this is Ineos's appointment, or Ratcliffe's appointment, Brada's appointment. And I'm sure they wouldn't want to fight. They've already fired one manager, got that firing wrong, essentially.
So badly.
Like, in terms of its timing, should have come much earlier. I think it would have to be catastrophically bad for them to fire him, or for Amorim to quit for a third time, and for them to accept it. So I suspect it's going to have to be like worse than we can possibly imagine. It's pretty bad now because his win rate is like 35% all competitions.
True.
Even worse in the Premier League. Yeah. So it'd have to get really bad for them to consider that. He will get the time, but then like no more excuses really. I mean, I do wonder whether they'll look again. I mean, obviously they were going to front load the Labour transfer. They know there's an issue in midfield, right? Everyone knows this. It's not a surprise. The reports today said it was 115 million that Brighton were asking for. That seems way over the top. Maybe they'll be changing that stance. Maybe they'll go back and try again once they've got some sales out of the way. Or maybe not. And it's going to be a difficult few months while we figure out whether Amorim can really get the most out of this team or not. Because, I don't know, there's a kind of theory of the case which says that Amorim probably is an elite manager. He carries himself like that. He's got interesting ideas. He's got the kind of level of attention to detail that all the top managers have in a kind of really intense over-the-top way and all of that, but he needs the absolute perfect players to pull this system off, and he doesn't have it right now. Or maybe we'll never get it, because look at the history of Manchester United in the last 10 years, right? Never been a perfect squad for any of the managers.
When are you going to have a perfect squad, though? Apart from, I don't know, if you're Pep Guardiola or something. But then he's...
Yeah, apart from you spend 40 million on a keeper, he doesn't work out for the first game, so you spend another 40 million on a keeper. Or you swap out four fullbacks in a window or whatever he did.
Mom, Dad, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole New Year's resolution thing, kind of slipping, no offense. Anyway, my best friend Jenny's dad, crushing it. He uses Blue Apron. He says he ordered one-pan assemble and bake meals and these things called meal kits. They're all super easy to make. He keeps yelling, protein and fiber, baby. Also, the food, we tried it. So good. So maybe check it out or whatever. Blue Apron. Get 50% off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code LISTEN50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
But then he's probably earned that by being a perfect manager, basically. I mean, he is one of the rare perfect managers. It's just... I felt as though I was watching another game in the second half where I was watching a lot of the players try and make something happen in very tough situations that they were putting themselves under. And then, if you flip that around, when Fulham had the ball, I was watching them exploit the problems with this system, which is... Okay, Fulham fire it into a striker. The centre-back, one of ours, De Ligt or Shaw, pushes right up, which means there's a gap in behind him. If that striker makes that touch off to a player and somebody makes a run in behind, hey presto, you have a problem. You have even more of a problem because you're pushing up your left-back or right-back whenever Dalot is up. Quick side note as well on Dalot. I don't know why... When he switched Diallo and Dalot, all of a sudden, like, Dalot got a lot more on the ball than Diallo ever did. And he got into better positions than what Diallo did. But then you remember, it's Dalot in those positions, so, yeah, you're not going to get a good cross. You're not going to do
anything with it, yeah.
Yeah, which I find really strange because I feel like the best player of last season that wasn't Bruno Fernandes, and he got injured, is currently kind of being underutilized at the minute.
Mm-hmm. He is. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about Kobbie Mainoo for all the obvious reasons, and probably should be more chatter about why did we spend 70 million on Bryan Mbeumo when you already had one of them of a similar ilk in the squad already? Like, is he now a sub? And it would seem a bit weird and a bit of a shame to take that creativity out of the firing line. Some nice moments from Diallo today. Didn't get into enough dangerous areas, I guess, and they were certainly from corners. He went to sleep, as did Patrick Dorgu on the back post, more than once. I mean, if you got a flappy keeper who's not going to catch the ball, because Altay can't.
We haven't even gotten into that yet. I mean,
I know. I know. I mean, it wasn't even that clever from Fulham. They had no special routines. They just stuck it under the bar, waited for the keeper not to get it, and put 2 men round the back post to try and score from the follow-up, the second phase. And it was a miracle we didn't concede from one of those, basically. They both went to sleep.
This is such a huge problem. Like, such a huge... I was going through, when I do a TikTok, I was going through all the tactical tidbits, this, that, the other. I was like, we're going to concede again. If he's in nets and they put corners in. Every time a corner was coming in, they knew what to do. But it's just... The panic is so clear. The panic is so clear when he comes out. It's like a rushed kid coming out and then quickly backtracking. Dorgu did fantastically on one of the corners. I think it was against Calvin Bassey, where he jumped with him and luckily sort of got in the way, came off Dorgu's head and came back to ricochet off Bassey and then went for a goal kick. But that is another problem to add. We've done a complete 180 because last week was optimistic and playing one of the best teams in the country, I think, off the park. The pressing was working. The new signings look good. Couldn't he hit the post last week as well, by the way, didn't he?
Yeah, and a couple of inches away this week.
Yeah, Getting closer.
He had a good first 5 minutes, couldn't you?
He did, yeah.
Shot over the bar and then the one against the post. Yeah. The corners are really worrying because it's so simple. Everybody's going to do the same thing now. They're going to stand on the keeper, load it into the box, and see if they can create some chaos. And it feels like United's defensive, the zonal marking piece, and the keeper are feeding off each other, right? I don't know which is more chaotic, the lack of ability to pick up men, if you're going to defend in zones like they are there, or the lack of the ability of the keeper to take command of the situation, because he most definitely won't. It's going to happen over and over again. Grimsby will do it. Look on Wednesday. This is basic League One stuff, isn't it?
On Wednesday.
Are they League One or League Two? I forget now. One of them. Yeah, I think they might be League Two.
I know they're just grim.
Yeah,
I think we'll get to see more and more as we go along, as you do during a season. I think it should be enough to beat Burnley the way they're playing. It's not been like the most awful start to the season, I would say. It's been very slow, and obviously the results have been bad, but we've had, I think, three good halves and one really bad one. Because it feels like when this system gets found out and the problems in the system are on show, they look really bad. And you go, oh, wow, okay. But
yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. But you're persisting with this. Yes, absolutely, we're doing this. Are you sure? We're not going to change? Yes, absolutely. So that's the problem, because we know he's not going to change. So we're either heading for a place where this is going to get better, the players are going to get even better in tight situations, we're going to find more and more space wide, and the 210s dropping deeper, and we're going to see more of what we saw in the first half, where even when they don't get the space, they have 70, 60% of the ball, and I would prefer that rather than the second half. Or we're going to see more of what we saw in the second half, especially towards the later end, where the team looked like they were kind of hanging on a little bit.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I definitely came out of this game not in a panic, but worried about some of the familiar patterns that we're seeing. Now, we should say we did feel like there was a lot of praise to be had after Arsenal. There was a lot of good stuff we saw. That followed on from some decent pre-season performances where it felt like there was some movement towards this being an Amorim team. You can see the model that he's trying to build here. It's just that with the good comes some of the bad.
Some of the very bad.
And they're very Jekyll and Hyde, aren't they, at the moment? You know.
It feels like they're very Jekyll and Hyde.
Afterwards, he kind of said, hey, the biggest failing we had today was after we scored the goal. That was the time to keep possession. That was the time to keep the ball. And he's not wrong there.
No.
Right?
He said the exact quote in The Guardian was, I think we forgot the way we play. Because everyone said, oh, we just have to defend now. I'm glad he said that, because I hope that's not an instruction. But then again, I'm thinking, all right, if that's not an instruction, why'd you put Ugarte on then? Surely, but maybe he saw that, and maybe he saw them dropping so deep and was like, okay, we actually need him to win the ball and have a few tackles.
Well, that's it. But that's when he gave up on that criticism he made after the game, or that observation that we forgot how we're meant to play. We didn't do the right things after we scored. He forgot that too, because for the second week in a row, if you wanted to retain possession as your first line of defence, right? If your first line of defence is a high press and your second is retaining possession, he gave up on all of that, reinforced what the team were doing in dropping deeper and deeper and deeper by putting Ugarte on there just to defend. He could have switched up in midfield, brought Kobe Mainu on, dropped Mount deeper, like a bunch of options. It doesn't have to be just the Mainu for Casemiro sub. If he really wanted to keep a defensive player in there, he could play with the structure as well, or he could have just played Kobe Mainu and tried to retain the ball, because he is good in those transitional situations. You know, retains the ball really well in difficult small spaces and all of that. He chose not to. That's 2 weeks in a row he's done it. Ugarte had a mare for the ages last week against Arsenal, although United weren't bad in the last sort of 15 minutes there. It's not like we were hanging on. Today, it just kind of reinforced some negative behaviours that got into the team, I thought, in that last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Very much could have lost.
Could have lost, but also could have won, I felt. I don't know. If Fernandes scores that penalty, they'd probably
It's a different
win.
game, yeah. Game state changes.
It's a
and all of
different
that,
game.
yeah.
I felt like the game might have hinged on that penalty because he lost his head completely after that.
He lost his head before the penalty. Not an awesome look from Bruno, I've got to say.
No, he does this sort of once or twice a year, but I don't have any problems with that because he'll probably go on a run and be brilliant for 10, 15 games. You should never really write him off. It's more so the minor situation as well. Surely, like, most of this system is we're watching fullbacks and Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount, Fernandes. We're watching these guys be very compact, right? We're watching them in very tight zones of the pitch because teams are going all the way up to press them. Surely don't you want a guy who can dribble past 2-3 in tight situations? Manu is that player. Is that player.
Yeah. I mean, Amorim wants to keep the game compact as well. I mean, it's not most coaches do, so that's like that's fine. But yes, in those small space games when the game is compressed into a third of the pitch, that's where Kobe shines. He does not appear to be. I mean, it is like again. Doesn't have to be existential as a conversation, but it's and he said there were big things planned for him, and he's kind of hinted at some of the stuff, and we saw it in pre-season where they were shouting at Kobe to try the switch because that is important in Amorim's system.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have the overloads in wide areas and all of the stuff that's been discussed, and yet Amorim has him profiled as either a 6 or a 10 and nothing in between because it doesn't really exist in his system.
I don't think anyone's getting ahead of Mason Mount. It appears that he is good in like the little actions that he does, but it appears that what Mount brings without the ball is huge as well. Game state wise and just fouls and pressing and tackles. I don't think anyone is ahead of Mason Mount because why would he say that then after the game when he said, what is he? He's competing with Fernandes for a place? Is that what he said?
I can't remember. But
okay, I don't know then.
Yeah. All right. Well, how are Grimsby going to set up tactically on? No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. Let's assume they're going to launch it. It's a League Two side. So, but I mean, more seriously, Grimsby is about one, not absolutely fucking it because. It would be very good. That's all it's about,
all the
right?
Carling Cup is ever about.
Yeah, well, that's true. Until the later rounds.
Don't embarrass yourselves. That's about it.
Yeah, that's very true. Don't embarrass yourself. But he's working with a reasonably small squad now in terms of who he actually... I mean, obviously, he's binned off 4, 5 in the bomb squad. So they're not going to... Normally, you'd have a few players who hadn't had minutes. They won't. He had quite a few younger players have been loaned out now. So there'll be some changes, but it won't be masses and masses of changes. Maybe Bruno gets a rest. Casemiro will definitely get a rest.
Yeah.
Probably Harry Maguire comes in. Mazraoui gets a game. Dorgu could probably do it. Dorgu would probably do with the rest, to be honest, because he's played like pretty much every game since January. Maybe they'll switch that situation up. Maybe Sesko gets some time.
Yeah. I think you nailed it because Šeško as well, when he came on, he does some neat little touches, but I think he definitely looks off the pace. Is he not fit? He looks very...
I don't know. I thought he'd had a proper pre-season, but I may be wrong about that one.
Really off. He just looked really unfit. There was even one good situation where he dribbled like past 2-3 players and somehow squirmed the ball out to Fernandes. By the way, Fulham made a lot of tactical fouls, like a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of smart ones as well, but in that situation, I just thought Šeško just looks really off it, as in just not fit. So let's give Šeško, I think, 90 minutes against Grimsby, score lots of goals. Obviously, get in, get out, don't embarrass yourself. Get a win and then move to Burnley and get another win, really. Get another win and play well.
I mean, really needs that, otherwise the pressure just builds and builds and builds and builds. Because after that, we've got City and Liverpool and Spurs and Chelsea and Forest and Brighton. Maybe even have Everton at their new ground. I forget exactly the...
God, they needed to win today. They
really do, and I think that's part of the reason why there's always a freak out. It's Manchester United. There's always a freak out.
There's a daily freak out, yeah.
If we'd won 7-0, there'd be some twat on the internet going, that's it, I've seen it enough.
I've had enough of this, yeah. but at the very least, like, it wasn't a loss. They could have won. I know they could have lost, but they could have won. Like, missing a penalty is quite a big thing, especially in these matches where it's like they seem to always beat Fulham by a goal. It's never like convincing away at Craven Cottage.
Well, it's been a whole bunch of last-minute goals in the last few years, hasn't it? Yeah. We haven't lost there for 15 years, though. So
no, but the last three seasons they've won by a goal. Last season it was Fernandez. Sorry, last season it was Martinez. The season before that, Fernandez, and then the season before that, Garnacho. It didn't happen, but basically, get through Grimsby, get in, get out, don't embarrass yourself. Get to Burnley, same, get in, get out, don't embarrass yourselves, and then we'll see after that. But there seems to be, I think that second half was quite eye-opening, to be honest. There seems to be problems still there.
Yeah, there are, and that's why everyone is worried. Like, I think the more rational voices, I mean, I know there are not a lot of rational voices on the internet. Maybe we are, fairly rational.
What do you mean you? Me, I'm really rational.
I'm perfectly rational. I'm
the most rational.
So I think the view from the more rational voices, whomever they are, is that there's some patterns here we've seen before and we don't like that. And we thought we'd moved past it. Obviously, there's a bunch of people who are freaking the fuck out, as they tend to do. It is the internet and all of that. But yeah, momentum is really needed, and because he has no bank of credit. And so, we know what he's going to do. We know the patterns. They have to execute much better because there isn't any other way, right?
Yeah. It's still really early as well. It's like the second game of the season. We're not even in game week 13 yet. That's when we'll really know. And that's when we'll inevitably
when we're on 10 points and 17th in the table. Yeah.
What is it? 28 games, 28 points.
Is that what we had last year?
No, I think that's like overall his league record now.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. His league record is just dreadful. Yeah. All right, well, we'll leave it there. A little bit worried.
Yeah, only a little bit. Only a little bit worried.
Dharnish, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Catch you later, everyone.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.